Hi, I'm Tommy from Dozer,
And I'm Frederick from Dozer.
and you are watching.
The Heavy Galaxy Show.
All right, Heavy Galaxy Show. John and Matt, we're here again with another really cool fucking episode for everyone today. As we'd like to welcome our guest coming to us from Virginia Beach. We got from the mighty Heavy Rock Vets Freedom Hawk. TR is joining us today. What's up, TR? Thanks for coming
how's
on,
it
man.
going, guys? Glad to be here.
Awesome, man.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, man. I know you say it's
brother.
really hot and humid there, I guess. See you wiping your face there a second ago. So
I know. Well, there's supposed to have air conditioning in here, but it's not really working that well. I'm in my it's my garage studio, and so I do have a unit in here, but it's struggling with the heat. So.
Oh, yeah, 100% humidity will do that for sure, man. Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming, TR. You know, yesterday, July 1st, I saw, man, marked 3 years since you guys released Age of the Idiot, which, of course, was the first single off your guys' last album, Take All You Can, back in 2022. So, man, 3 years it's coming up since the album was out, man. So I guess fill us in. What's going on, I guess, currently right now with the band? What's happening? Any writing, recording going on?
Yeah, we're writing. We're putting some ideas together. It's just, you know, we've been doing a lot of jamming. Have some stuff that's kind of coming along, but it just seems like life has gotten in the way of you know, locking some stuff in. Yeah, there's always something going on, but yeah, we've got some really good jams, and we've got everything set up in our little studio that we have, and yeah, they're moving along, but they're a little stagnant at the same time. I don't know how to explain it. Just sometimes you got to have everybody's got to kind of be on the same page when you're writing music. So,
What is the process that you all use to write music? Like, what's kind of the order of things, we'll say?
either somebody comes in with a riff and then try to work it around, but a lot of times it's just if everybody's on the same page with the vibe, we just kind of come in and just someone will start doing something, then we just lock in and just be creative and try to make a jam. And then if something's cool, we remember it and we record it, and then try to then work on it from there. Like try to take that riff and then try to move it so it goes somewhere. You know what I mean?
Are the lyrics the final piece of the puzzle?
Typically, yeah. It's if we have a jam going, like I'll sing on top of it. It's just, I'm just kind of making stuff up off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And then, but usually something will stick in there, and then from there, like I'll, figure out what that is, and then write around that phrase or whatever. Like I always try to come up with some sort of story in my head,
Mm-hmm.
So
that two of my favorite songs by you, it's kind of an eclectic beach kind of. It puts me in that space. That's Indian Summer, the North Swell, which I'll continuously beg you to play live at some point in time. You're like, oh, we haven't played that in like a decade or something.
We kind of goofed off with it a couple weeks ago.
Ooh.
I mean, I could talk to the guys, see if we.
It's a new tradition, TR, at Planet Desert Rock for bands that break out a song they haven't played in years. So
Well,
Watchers did that this year. A few other bands have. And so that'd be cool, but no pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure. But you take me back to that era, though, and that vibe of that time. I mean, that Indian Summer video is so colossal. It's so cool. Really, really cool. Talk to us about that era, that album, what was going on vibe-wise back then with you all.
So that album, Holding On, so we had talked with Scott from Small Stone, and he said he would put it out, so that we came up with the video. And we had friends that are in the movie business. They make movies, or at least they're on the crews, like doing like big production stuff. Mm-hmm. And so this was their way of kind of doing their own thing without being part of like a big production. They're like, hey, we got this idea. Here's the song. They wrote a treatment out, which is like an outline of what the video is going to be. And then came up with a budget. And then we went, actually, for Indian Summer, we went to the Outer Banks to a place called Jockey's Ridge, which is like a giant sand dune that it's in Nags Head, North Carolina. And so the story goes that the pirates used to put a lantern around like an old like horse or nag, and they would have it walking on the dune, which would the ships going by would think it was a lighthouse, and they would wreck on the sandbars, and then they would come in and take all their stuff.
Wow.
So anyways, so at Jockey's Ridge, that video that day though, like we had to drag all of our stuff out on the dunes, and it was in July, and it was again another like a 100-degree day, like dragging. There's pictures of us pulling the stuff out there, but it was. They had shot while we were doing that, they were shooting the scene where the guy's driving the car down the highway, and we're pulling all the stuff out there. We finally get set up, and we kind of had a generator out there, and like we were playing just to kind of get some sounds, and so we could hear the music as we were playing to the video, for the video. And not even like the second take that they were just trying to get everything set up, this giant thunderstorm pops up. And we're not even anywhere close to getting the gear to like where it needs to go before it rains. So they did, that shot was, those were the practice shots of us doing the playing part. And then we had to haul butt and get everything dragged back to the van to get it. We just made it in the nick of time. But yeah, as far as the music at that time period, we had put out our self-titled, came out after. We recorded that one first, and then we did the Sunlight album. Mm-hmm. And that one had a lot of buzz. And then the next album, which was Holding On, we kind of tuned down further for that one. Like the other albums were like, we dropped like a half a step. Like, so if you're standard E, we were like a D sharp for the Sunlight album. Then we went a full step down for the next album, Holding On. And there was a lot of drop tunings in that one. It was more stoner rocky, I guess. But I don't know. That was pre-children as well, so there was more time on our hands to do music.
Right.
But,
well, yeah.
And you guys, you live in Virginia Beach. You're surfers as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You born and raised there in Va Beach?
Yes. Yep.
And how long have you known the other guys? Like you and Mark? His brother?
Mark. I've known Mark. So I met Mark when I was 19, and I started playing guitar late. Like I was like 15, and I just kind of goofed off with it. And Mark started playing bass later too, and then we kind of got together. We were just partying, and like he had a bass, I had a guitar. I was like, so we just started goofing off at like 19, and we kind of came up with like some riffs here and there, and we always were looking for a drummer. So like we went through a few drummers, and so I've known Mark forever. I think Lenny, like Mark and I had jammed with different drummers and just goofed off until I guess probably I was like 28. So almost like 9 years of goofing off with other drummers and stuff. And then we met Lenny, So I was 28 when we met Lenny, and he came and jammed with us with another guitarist came and jammed, and he left his drums at my house. So Mark and I were like, I guess he liked it. He left his drums here.
Yeah, right.
And then, so I've known Lenny since then. And Virginia Beach it's a small, big town. So it's probably like 2 or 3 degrees of separation, If I know, so Lenny, I didn't know him, but I know all of his friends, you know what I mean?
Right.
And likewise, he knows my friends. And so anyways, yeah, so I've known those guys for a long time. And we've always had, us three have always had a connection as far as just getting together, and we all clicked, like playing music-wise, just jamming, I guess, is kind of, we're really good at jamming. It'd be fun to do live, but it's very scary to do that live because, they don't always work out, but when they do, it's pretty awesome.
And Mark's brother was in the band for a little while as well, right?
Yeah,
on the other guitar.
He was, so we started playing, the three of us, and then Mark's brother, Matt, he played guitar, and he was really good. I at the time was a very mediocre, subpar guitarist, I would say. But Matt was accomplished, so he came in, and so he was, really good at like doing leads and stuff like that, and writing riffs. I think he actually wrote that riff for Indian Summer, the
nice,
the main riff,
oh yeah.
So anyways, he had a lot of metal influences on our band, I guess.
And you said you didn't start playing guitar to 15. So when did you really find music so interesting that you wanted to be, wanted to dabble in being a musician? And talk to us a little bit about your early influences, we'll say.
Well, so my parents separated like when I was like 13, and a friend of mine had a guitar and a little amp he was selling. I bought it for like $75. So for me, it was just an escape to get away from all that bullshit, and it was a way for me to, and I still do it now, like to it's a stress reliever. Like I would just pick up the guitar, and I play guitar more for creativity than anything. Like I had no desire to learn any other music. Like I don't know any cover songs at all. Like not interested in playing other people's music. It's always like someone's like, oh, that's a cool band, or that's a cool sound. In my head, it's like, well, I could play something that sounds similar to that, like an intro. You know what I mean? Like, but never had like the interest to play. I use it as a creative outlet. So, so back in the day, I guess, I'm 50. So when I was 15, it was like, grunge and stuff was coming up. And so it was, Nirvana and stuff like that would be. And, punk was my thing, like back in that day too, any kind of like heavy metal as well, like anything that had to do with aggressive stuff, because I was into skating and surfing, and like that stuff would pump you up to go do that kind of thing. So, so that all the bands in that genre were big influence. And then when I was 19, my car, I had the Black Sabbath self-titled album, and that tape was stuck in my tape deck.
Wow.
Good one.
I just got, get it back. I played over and over and over again. So, Black Sabbath became like a very big influence on me as well. I kind of discovered them late, as far as, I was 19 before I really even heard of Black Sabbath. Other than, I heard of them, but never listened to them, Music nowadays is just so much more, there's just it's so much more available than back in the day. Like you actually had to buy the album and hope that it was good. You know, you had to invest into it. You know what I mean? Like now it's disposable, which kind of sucks, but it's at the same time it's kind of nice to have a big variety of music. You know?
Yeah. So I know you said. So I know this year's. I think you guys now started 20 years ago, I believe, this year, right? 2005. And you were just saying before, you guys kind of just goofed around for a while. What was it? When did you decide, like, let's maybe stop goofing around and take this seriously? You know, around that time, obviously around 2005 when you guys started up.
So what we would do is at my house, like we had, like my wife and I, we had a detached garage that we made into like a studio. Like we had soundproofed the garage, and so our thing was me, Mark, and Lenny and Matt. We would get together like on Saturday or Sunday, and like in the daytime, and we would just it would be our party time. So we would start during the day, and we would just drink and get fucked up, and we'd just play music. And my wife's like, you know, you guys sound pretty good. You should do something. You should play a show or record something. And my neighbor at the time, he actually had like a mobile recording studio in his backyard. It was like a Mack truck that had like a bed in the back. It was a full studio. So we recorded, I don't know if you ever heard that 4-song demo that we did. It's got like, have you ever heard it? It's on Bandcamp. We put it on Bandcamp. It's actually kind of cool. Okay. So it's the original songs that we did. It was Hollow Caverns, Magic Lady. I think North Swell was on there. And there's one other one I can't remember if it was On the Other Side or if it was, I don't know. There's 4 songs on that original that's on the Bandcamp that you can listen to, but that was, if you want to hear the original Freedom Hawk,
wow,
that did probably 2000. It was probably 2004, probably more than, or 2005.
Oh wow.
So anyways, yeah, so that was the thing. The catalyst was my wife saying, you know, you guys should try to do something. And so the thing that's funny with the Planet Desert Rock is that our first show we played with was Throttle Rod.
Wow. Oh wow.
No way.
That's very good.
Oh my God. That's right. They were from they were out of Richmond, right?
Yeah. So
yeah,
it was actually at a backyard party in like halfway between like Richmond and Virginia Beach. It was a mutual friend's house, and they were playing, and we were like, can we open up? And we played on this deck. I have a picture of it. It's kind of funny. But Matt was always cool. The guys in Throttle Rod were always cool. And so we did that backyard party, and then we did our first real show, like out like at a venue with them in Year Long Disaster. I don't know if you guys are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Carmen to Burn.
Carmen Burn.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh.
So we've got, when you were bringing Throttle Rod on, I mean, we've got history with them from.
Wow.
Wow.
That's really, that's wild to hear. That's super cool. And yeah, I'm honored, and it was a random thought one day in my mind about Throttle Rod. That's all it was. And I was like, let me ask. I mean, that's all it was.
Yeah.
You know, and next thing you know, he's like, hell yeah. So yeah.
I like the Shun band too. His new band too.
Hell yeah.
Good too.
Mm-hmm.
Really good stuff. Different kind of, a little bit different direction, little more like quicksand, a little lighter, but yet, God, really good stuff.
They recorded with the guy from Jawbox.
Oh, wow. Jawbox.
Oh, yeah. I used to have one of their CDs.
Yeah, that's an old name I haven't heard in a while. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned Black Sabbath, and of course you probably know that they're doing like a tribute to Ozzy and Black Sabbath on, I don't know, the 5th of July, I think it is. Some have said you sound a little like Ozzy.
Really?
Yeah, weird. Every once in a while, someone says that.
Right.
So in a weird fictitious world, you were invited to sing one Black Sabbath song on stage for that tribute, for that day, that tribute. What would it be?
So before we did the band, I'd get drunk and go do karaoke. And so my go-to song was always War Pigs.
Oh,
War Pigs was always fine, and everyone would be like, "Man, you sounded like Ozzy." I was like, "Really?" I was like, so it was always that was my karaoke song. My go-to karaoke was before the band was always War Pigs. So that would be the one that I would probably pick. I actually did there's like a local school here, like a music school that did like an Ozzy thing with like the guitar players, like where they put the full band together, and so these kids were playing like Ozzy songs and some Black Sabbath songs, and they asked me to come and like sing while they did their songs.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And that was very difficult, like to do the songs like over and over and over again, and like in a setting that wasn't like a show. I mean, it was a show, but it was like.
And you weren't drunk.
Yeah, it was
much.
Very difficult.
Probably just smoked a little weed, hopefully beforehand or something. But yeah,
I don't know. It'd probably been more difficult to do that because I was already nervous enough doing it.
Right.
Like, parents.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about me; it was about the kids. So it was difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be my song.
Cool.
So is that kind of how you got your sort of like a tone and style of vocal? I mean, was it? I'm not saying that you emulated it, but was it just a natural sort of how it came out, or maybe from that did it influence it at all?
I think I liked the Police a lot. Like when I was a kid too, So like I remember, listening to the Police all the time, like on my Walkman, walking to school, like in elementary school, and I'd be singing, like, trying to get that high pitch, like Sting, So I don't necessarily know if it was like trying to go for Ozzy or as much as that trying to sing in general, like when I sing as hard as I can, like it just comes out high pitch, But yeah, I wouldn't say I was trying to sound like Ozzy, but definitely a big influence for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. So just quickly, I wanted to ask you, Tia, we were just talking before about, you mentioned the band Throttle Rod, who was on Small Stone, and obviously you've been on some of the biggest stoner, heavy rock labels, obviously here in the States, but now on Ripple, you were on Small Stone, Meteor City. I mean, you guys were really, it was 20 years ago. I mean, you were really one of the torch carriers, I feel that, because no one was really doing much of this music at that time. There wasn't really as it didn't get to the level it is now, where you have a bunch of labels, you got festivals and all this. So you guys really were, at the forefront of this sound continuing from, say, like, kind of that 90s original stoners kind of sound. It's kind of a two-part question. Did you guys, here you are 20 years later, did you guys ever think you'd be doing it for this long? And also, how, I guess, maybe gratifying kind of is it that you're not only just still together doing this and still one of those, torch carriers, but you're one of the legacy bands now in the scene when, like I said, this really didn't really exist 2 decades ago. How do you look at all that? Yeah.
Well, so I don't think we ever had like any real aspirations. Like I still feel like I'm very proud of what we've done, but there never was the goal for that, because it was always, it was always the same thing. Like when we talk to people, that we'd be doing it regardless if we're playing in front of people or not. Like, the fun part of the music is playing it, and so there wasn't there wasn't a plan to be doing other than what we're doing now. You know what I mean? It would have been nice. There's in the career of Freedom Hawk, it's always been like a slow rise. There's been, you know, where things start to go up and then they go back down. It's just a slow and steady thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool to be thought of in that way, but I don't feel like that. You know, I don't think our band feels like that personally. Like we're a legacy band, other than, I mean, I feel like the bands before us, I mean, I feel like I feel like they've done more than we have, you know, but I think we're humble in our thoughts as far as music goes, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, you all played how many countries do you think over these years? Because you've done some European action.
Yeah, I mean, we played UK, we played Belgium, the Netherlands, we played Germany and Hungary, we played Italy, we played in France, Canada, played the US.
It's all over the
yeah,
US.
we've done a lot. I mean, I'm like I said, every time like when things like this pop up, like you start thinking about it, and from the beginning there was no thought of ever being able to do any of that stuff. It was always just, we're doing our thing, and things have happened and had opportunities, which definitely we're blessed to have had that, you know. But yeah, it's definitely cool. I'm pretty proud of what we've done.
And you even had some music in TV shows or movies or something here and there as well. I know Smallest and Scott had a good music manager link up for a while, and you and Sasquatch got on there. Do you remember what it was that you guys got on?
We were on that Hawaii 5-0 show. We did that Fuel TV used to play us a lot, like on their clips. We had some songs like in Travis Pastrana's movies, a lot of motocross stuff, skateboarding. We were had stuff on like Quicksilver. We did some stuff for Volcom as well back in the day, and I mean, there's been a lot of stuff. I think we were on Ridiculousness, that show on MTV.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't remember if you were on Sons of Anarchy or not. I know Sasquatch was.
No, I don't think we didn't get on that one. We did have a guy that was marketing our music for a long time, and he passed away, which was a shame. But he was really pushed us hard to get us, you know, marketing out there for that kind of stuff. I feel like a lot of that stuff has changed over the years too. As getting music on shows.
Well, yeah, they've really pivoted to some degree, rock and roll out, and it's way more hip hop. You know, Hollywood's gone in a certain direction. But I watch series, you know, like different series, and I do notice sometimes they are plopping in rock and roll. Sometimes it's like, you know, like Wolf Mother, things like that, which I'm grateful they even play that. You know what I mean? Versus something else. And I hear it
I
some.
love Wolf Mother. I don't know. I love
Yeah.
I'm all good with Wolf Mother, but you know, they're ever since Mike Patton ran his mouth, everyone's like fucking hating on it. But like Rival Sons, you know, they got unbelievable tunes and they're popping on stuff now. It's cool that it's some, but I'd like for me to break out of the music mafia, who owns a lot of the rights to the legacy stuff. Yeah. So therefore,
oh, John's mic went out.
Lost your mic there, buddy.
Your mic's out. Well, you know, I'll just, while he's fixing that up, to your, you know, me and John, we discussed this a lot about really, you know, because you just brought up a name before, the Police, and we talk about the sort of lack of influence really that rock has now in American culture, unlike it did, you know, when we all grew up. I mean, even all those pop bands, in the 80s, where a lot of them are mostly rock based, like you said, Police, Billy Idol, Huey Lewis, ZZ Top, et cetera, et cetera. So, I mean, I'm in the opinion that rock's really sort of reached its like pinnacle in terms of the impact that it's going to have in our culture. I hope I'm wrong, of course, but John, I think, is a little more optimistic than I am in that regard. What's your take on what you are seeing?
Well,
and
I've noticed that there's been a pivot in the whole. Well, maybe it's just the stuff maybe that I listen to or I'm hearing. As far as like rock and roll, it seems like it's getting more. There's more going on as far as just not just straight like rock and roll, as it's going back towards like funky, bluesy kind of stuff. Is what I've been noticing. But I feel like there's gonna be a resurgence. You know,
okay.
Whether I don't necessarily know if stoner rock is gonna be the thing that comes to the forefront, but I always feel like this has always been an underground thing, and it's gotten bigger, but it's still going to remain an underground thing. But there's been more stuff happening that I've been hearing, like with bands, going into like more of like a, like I said, like a funkier, heavy kind of thing going on. I don't know how to explain it, but
I mean, I think that stoner rock falls under this kind of a larger umbrella, heavy rock umbrella that includes really blues-based rock and roll. I mean, the essence of stoner rock is that, along with the psychedelic side of things, with it, stemming from Hendrix and even more so now Pink Floyd. So it's kind of unique to watch. I mean, it's certainly a tough uphill battle. Now, you played in front of a lot of people. What is the biggest crowd you've ever played in front of? I'm sure it was a European festival.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably the Desert Fest Berlin when they had it like at the hangar. I don't know what the name of the place was exactly, but it was a giant hangar. We played like the main stage, and then they had another side stage. But I don't know how many people were there. It was a big. That was probably the biggest venue we've ever played for sure.
What's been your favorite tour you've ever done, and who did you tour with?
It probably was that tour, that 2018 European tour when we were touring for the Beast Remains album. We just had every show on that tour was good. Like, I mean, we played like an open air metal fest, like where every band was more like Iron Maiden and more of that style metal, and we played it and had a good I guess vibe with the crowd. But like, we sold like the most merch at that show for the whole tour, and but that whole show, I mean, that whole tour was pretty smooth sailing, and we had it was like 3 weeks, and every show was good. I mean, we played the Desert Fest London, and we played the one in Berlin on that tour as well, which was London one was really cool too.
And you guys played the
tour mate?
What's that?
Who were the band tour mates? Did you have another band that was?
No, we it was just us, and then we just
okay.
It was like I guess it was a headlining tour playing.
Nice.
We played like those festivals.
And you guys played the first Desert Fest in New York too, right? Didn't you guys play one of those?
We played it. One? I don't know which one was the first one. We played
22, was it? I think.
Was it 22? Maybe it was. Yeah, we played the pre-party, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I remember reading about that. And was that the one venue in New York that's closed?
Yeah, St. Vitus. Yeah, we played.
St. Vitus. Yeah.
I think Atomic Bitchwax was they were the headliner that night.
Another.
And, Valley of the Sun played that night too. And I can't remember the other band.
Yeah, and you played the first Ripple Fest as well.
Yeah.
Way out there in the fucking boonies, he did it.
Wow.
That was
water lake.
that was a hot day that day, dude, right?
Oh, it was hot. It was hot.
Yeah.
That was like an all-day thing with like wild psychedelic, the lights going on the whole time. There was two stages, one on, one big one, which of course you guys got to play, and then the other one's kind of stuck over in the corner. Yeah. That was a fun one, but the Uber ride was like $100 for us that lived in Austin. It was just a disaster. I'm so glad Ryan changed it, but I was like,
it was a giant venue too.
Yeah.
There was the light show that Matt Alchemist guy did was pretty awesome because the place was so big, and it was, if you were on any kind of like psychedelic drugs, it probably I don't know if you would have came back from that one,
Yeah, that was.
Well, you guys have played pretty much, I guess, all the big festivals, right? Roadburn, you've done.
Roadburn,
Freak Valley, I think you guys did too, right?
Roadburn Festival was crazy because we played last that night. I don't know, we weren't necessarily the headliner, but I think the way it worked out, like we were traveling from, I can't remember where we played the night before, but we were like gonna barely make it there, and so they put us to play last, and it was like the most amazing thing because the place was just completely packed.
Oh, nice.
People up top, you could see them out in the hallway, like they were out there trying to get in too, but they couldn't. It was just completely packed. And on the floor, it was like a foot deep of plastic cups.
Wow.
And that was a really cool show to play. I think that was our first European tour we did over there.
That must have been well over 1,000+ people.
Yeah, it was that show was pretty cool. That whole tour though was pretty stressful on us, but we had fun. Roadburn would be a cool place to go back and play again for sure.
I do know your favorite fest set you've ever played is Planet Desert Rock 1.
Yeah, for sure. That was.
Why don't you, instead of me tell the story, just give a little perspective on that day, on that night.
So was that 2017? What year was it?
Yeah. When 18. End of 18, I think it was. Yeah.
Was that
outside?
I'm trying to remember because we played. Like, was it the one that was outside the beauty bar? Right.
Yeah.
And it was kind of cold outside.
You could say that.
Yeah. Like,
it literally had snow flurries coming out for part of it.
Wow.
And
that was with Wofat and with Sasquatch and wasn't Wino there too, but he was there.
Wino was just hanging out. He was headlined the night before or something, and was staying with me.
Yeah, that show was actually a good. We had a lot of fun that show.
Yeah, you had a good time that weekend. Your voice was hurting a little. I remember that.
Was it? It's always hurting if I'm not sleeping well. If I'm not sleeping, that's when that thing goes away.
Because you were at a night with John Garcia, which was night one.
That's right.
Where we did that very special, production. We'll say. I'll never forget. You were playing one of those songs that had to do with winds. And the fucking winds started picking up, and you see like snow flurries coming out. I mean, folks, it was 30-something degrees. It was at this place called the Beauty Bar, which is right on Fremont Street in the back of it. In the front of the Beauty Bar, which is indoors, which would have been too small for the crowd we had, they have hip hop and rap in there. So, and outside was this, this fest, and it was freezing ass cold. I had to really be forceful with them to get the heating lamps to work. They were like, "Oh yeah, I don't think they're working." I'm like, "It's gonna be 30-some degrees, man. Come on, we have hundreds of people coming." Like,
I feel like I was warm just from playing, but and it's rare that you play and you don't sweat just because it's that cold outside.
want like a toboggan hat. I mean, how often you get to play a set, you know, where it looks like
I like the look of that hat on those pictures of him.
Yeah. Leah Burlington
took the McKenzie brothers or something, you know?
Yeah, Leah Burlington, she took some amazing shots of you all that night to really document such a memorable evening. I mean,
yeah, it was a good time.
Yeah, to have Wofat, you all, and Sasquatch as three at the top of the lineup was it was a dream come true early on. It was like crazy shit.
Yeah, I had fun. I had fun that whole weekend. Yeah, we had like that first night at the Hard Rock. That was an amazing show, you know, with John Garcia band, and that whole night was just pretty awesome. We got really wasted.
You weren't the only one. I had to be kept sane early on because I was having all kinds of like behind the scenes production bullshit with the casino, and Wino was like my personal counselor to talk me down. I'd go back up to the room where I was sharing a room with Wino, and he'd be up there playing this new guitar that Gibson sent him. Nice. And he's up there just playing acoustic guitar, and he was like, "Hey, John, why don't you listen to this song, man?" I always call him the Johnny Cash of Doom. and he'd be like, listen to the song. And he'd play some song, and it later on ended up being on the acoustic album of Ripple. It was just crazy.
You know, speaking of him, sorry to cut you off, but that Sunlight album, he was that Spirit Caravan, The Jug Full of Sun. You know what I'm talking about, that album?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was a big influence on me. I was listening to that album like crazy during that time we were writing the songs for that. And so he came and played at a local place called the Norva, which is like a really nice venue, like in Norfolk, which is the next town over. Mm-hmm. And I got to meet him, and I just was like, man, it's such a big influence on me. Like he didn't know who I was. We weren't anything at that time.
Yeah.
For that, but it was just like, Wino and that album was like a big influence on me when we were doing that Sunlight album. Like that song Palomino in general was like that had like a big like that riff was like a big, I don't know. I just was thinking about that when you were talking about Wino.
Wino is such a cool guy. I just was texting with him the other day. You know, he's got a solo album coming out again, and I don't think it's going to be just acoustic. So that'll be interesting. And Spirit Caravan to me is one of the most underrated, underappreciated bands ever. It just was the wrong timing. I think, with things, because if you go back and listen to their albums, I mean, man, they had some really good songs.
Well, Dave Sherman was the bass player too. Yeah, he was. I'm trying to think of what his other band was.
Well, he was in Earthride.
Earthride, yeah.
Yeah. Sherm.
Yeah.
Great guy.
He was a good guy.
He was such a nice guy. I hung out with him. The first show I ever booked at Counts Vamped, which unfortunately just closed this weekend. Yeah. First show I ever booked there on my own was the Skull with Earthride on that tour. And I'll never forget meeting Dave. And we had maybe knew each other a little bit through Facebook or something. And he came over to, I always would sit at like this little table over in the VIP area, which was like open and there was no one there. It was just pre-production stuff. Sure. And he came over and we hung out. And it was like we had known each other forever. I mean, he was just such a nice guy. And we just started cracking up and telling jokes and smoking. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember last time I saw him. Like, I forget, we were playing some show somewhere, and they were all there, and just the fact that they knew who we were was pretty cool. Just at that time, with us playing, like they were super generous. That guy, Dave, was a really nice guy. He was a cool guy. He had. Did you ever see his? He played another band. I forget there's something about smoking weed. I forget the name of the band, but he had made this. His mic stand. I don't think he played. I think he just sang on that band, and his mic stand was like this giant bong.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I can't remember the name of that band. It wasn't Weed is Weed or something.
Yeah, it was. Maybe it was Weed is Weed. I think that's maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, if they were just from another state up from you.
Yeah.
I mean, how is what you know of the Virginia, North Carolina scene? I mean, you obviously go way back with ASG, which is down there and they're down in Wilmington more so now, right?
Yeah,
but
they're in Wilmington, but they're surfers as well. So they're all in that same scene as far as I don't know, East Coast surfing.
Yeah. That'd be a hell of a nice little. I mean, I don't think they're up for tours anymore, but that'd be a nice little, easy 5-10 show run for the two of your bands.
I talked to Jason. This was months ago. Just text him saying hey, we should do a tour because I think it would be a good package. Both of our bands playing together.
Yeah, I wanted them for Planet Desert Rock even. But it ended up bad timing last year, and then or this year I should say.
They're playing Ripple Fest, right?
They're playing Ripple Fest this year, so I'm happy to see them at least and hang out because they're good guys. I hung out with them at Psycho Vegas back in the day, which is crazy. You guys never got to play that. There were so many good stoner rock bands that actually didn't get to play Psycho, and a lot of them were Ripple, which was really.
You know why that is?
Well, it's because of the guy who was the talent buyer. But why?
Yeah. Well, because this is just what I heard from outside.
Go for it.
Not that I actually heard it straight from them, but I guess the guy that used to book that didn't like Matt Bacon. Matt Bacon.
He was from Writing Easy guy.
Yeah, so he didn't like Matt Bacon. He's like, "Are you guys associated with him?"
Oh wow!
Yeah,
God.
We know Matt. We talk with him. He's a good guy. And they're like, well, if you're associated with him, you're never playing this festival.
Wow,
it's crazy. Right, cool. The politics.
Wow. I was like,
yeah,
damn.
The politics of our little micro scene still have had some issues, and Psycho was obviously a standard bearer that really, set things to the next level. And yeah, they were very cliquey because they tried to eliminate me before I even started. Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've worked at a lot of labels, and I've always said that a lot of guys behind the scenes, they want to be rock, musicians, rock stars, but since they don't have the talent or just don't have the will to do it, they want to be rock stars behind the scenes. So you got a lot of that ego, unfortunately, with a lot of guys behind the scenes. Right. With all the politics.
I just think people want to help certain people, and there's a politics scratch in the back, and this is my little clan or my clique. There's a lot of that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean,
unfortunate. Yeah.
I mean, hey, I'm the only one that does any booking for Planet Desert Rock, and I book whatever I want, and I put parameters on the kind of styles and all that, and I kind of dig deeper. And I work with people that I know, and at times I bring back bands that I love. I mean, Freedom Hawk, I usually have a 2-year rule on Planet Desert Rock, and they played less than 2. They played the one before this, but I'm like, fuck that. Let's get them back over, because I'm going to tell you, everyone, including UTR, I mean, I was burned out in like, what the hell is going on with rock and roll when I moved to Vegas, and I was just like, music just really sucked on the radio. Like, rock music was like, it was just getting to this point where I'm like, this isn't good. Like, this is getting old. This is getting screamy too much. All kinds of shit. And I was on Amazon, just Amazon. And I was buying old CDs, like an old Danzig CD or an old this or old that. And you would scroll down and they'd get other bands suggested. And through that laborious activity of doing that and listening, because they would, other bands you could go and listen, I fell in love with 4 bands that kind of really regenerated my belief in rock music again and woke me up that there's something wrong as well. Like, I'm like, why are these bands not on the radio? Because as a guy who was a picky bastard, didn't even like everything on the radio at all, it woke me up, we'll say, to like, something's amiss here. And it was Rival Sons, and this is before anyone even knew them. It was Sasquatch, it was Gozu, and it was Freedom Hawk. Nice. And the rest is history. I just think, if you look, I think those are still 4 of the top 10 best hard, heavy rock bands out there. It's just, you all are consistent. Every single album, just like Sasquatch, every single album has been at a very high level. And there's songs that are memorable. You got good vocals going on, the 2-guitar attack. The whole thing works. And, you know, you and I, Freedom Hawk and I have worked together on some marketing stuff over the years as well. And it was easy to get your music in front of people and people go, why don't I know who this is? Because that's the common theme that our country, and maybe all over the world really, find out that there's this music that is better than what the rich and powerful record labels and management companies, they're the music mafia, as I call it, that control, the main arteries that open up to everyone else. And it's just keep rocking, man. New music is always great to hear from you guys. Last album was great. Your cover of Soundgarden.
Yeah.
My favorite, without a doubt, on that compilation was that.
Yeah, well, they asked us what song we wanted to do. And so when I first found Soundgarden, that was the album, and like that was the song. And so I was like, can we do Loud Love?
That was when I discovered him too. Yeah. That album.
And they were like, someone was like, you think you can pull it off? I was like, I think I can do it. It's like, I think I can do it.
Definitely did it, man. Yeah.
Have you ever played it live?
No.
That freaked people out.
Yeah. Well, I think the problem is the singing part with that riff. It's hard for me to play that riff and sing that the way that Chris Cornell's he's because I don't think he was playing guitar at that time. I think he was just singing.
Just singing, yeah.
So there's a different way that you can attack a song when you don't have to actually play a guitar. At least for me, wise, like you can sing outside of the riff itself, so you're not.
Well, Brendan can play it.
Yeah. Sure. But I feel like,
and he might even take his shirt off like Cornell.
Yeah.
Because we know. I mean, did Brendan have his shirt off during that fucking winter day? I have to go back and look at pictures because I know he liked to go off the rug.
I don't think he didn't start doing the shirt off thing until we did that European tour in 2018. Like, he had limited clothes. And so he's like, if I'm going to get out of, because after you play, like you're soaking wet, So he's like, this saves the shirt. So like he gets done playing, and then he can put his shirt back on without it being all out.
He's a little younger too, but I'll never. And he's got a rug, He's got a good hairy chest. You know what I mean?
He's a furry guy.
Yeah. I mean, a little furry guy. Yeah. But he's been an unbelievable. I mean, we have to at least say. I mean, he's been a great addition, obviously replacing Mark's brother Matt, and is fit in and really been an outstanding performer, great live as well. You guys complement each other tremendously.
Yeah, for sure. Like he's been a great addition to the band.
Yeah, so he'll play guitar and you'll just sing that song.
I guess we could try that.
There you
I don't think we ever did. It's just
I'll send you over the set list. No, I'm joking.
It's always weird though because I've always played guitar when I'm singing, so it's a different dynamic to be just an upfront singer as opposed to I can hide a little bit behind my guitar, like I don't have to.
Totally.
I feel like if you're just a singer and like there's other stuff going on, like what do you do? You know what I mean?
What TR is funny is Jason Walker, he's a local talent. Can't remember if you met him or not. Him and I came up with the brainchild of doing a thing called Jason Walker's Bad Motorfinger, where he played predominantly Bad Motorfinger songs. And many of the songs, he was not the guitarist. He only played guitar on maybe 2 songs the whole day. And he had this other guitarist, this lefty guitarist that plays in a Nirvana tribute band, playing guitar and killing it. And Jason was just microphone, which is kind of rare for Jason, and you could tell he was still getting used to it. But
you got to figure out your moves and all that other stuff.
Yeah. But because he has a lot of moves singing and playing guitar. And he's like a blues guy too, so there's a lot of room to kind of, you know what I mean, move about and do your little riff and all that. Amazingly talented guy. But it's interesting to watch that aspect of him just microphoning it up. Yeah. Totally cool.
Yeah, maybe I'll have to bring that up. Maybe I'll like, hey, well,
it would be awesome.
We could try.
It would freak people out. They would be like, yeah.
We do that with a local
I think
show.
the Stoner Rock crowd, if there was one, I think Soundgarden would be 1A and Alice in Chains 1B when it comes to Stoner Rock and grunge. I think those 2 bands are just like, you know, brothers and cousins, really.
Yeah, for sure.
And it really transitioned to the Caius soon after that. Which did you ever get to see Caius back in the day?
No, I didn't.
Matt, did you?
Not too many people did. No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, you know, they were so, I don't want to say unpopular.
I know that.
Which is kind of crazy, right? I never even got remotely close to seeing them. But I lived on an island, you know, over in Hilton Head. And so we were 45 minutes from Savannah, and it just wasn't feasible.
I feel like they came here. I think they toured with Danzig one year. I think someone had told me that they had opened up for Danzig, and I didn't make it to that show, but that's what I think. I don't know if that's the truth or not, but
yeah, I mean they used to be on tours and do stuff. I mean, it's just unfortunate.
I've seen this band plenty of times here, like before they
were
super popular, you know, the Queens of Stone Age.
When was the last time you saw them?
I'm trying to think of what year it was. I saw them up in DC. It was when he was still married, and I remember they had their kids were in the back, like you could see them riding their bikes like backstage, and it was like this Merriweather amphitheater thing up in DC.
Oh, Merriweather Post Pavilion?
Yeah.
Over Maryland.
Saw them there. I've got actually that poster there is from when they played 2005 at the Norva, and what's his name from Screaming Trees? He came out and sang on that.
Lanigan.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I think it was that one.
Well, I mean, there was a.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't that one. Maybe it was. I'm trying to think of when that album came out. The
Song for the Deaf.
Yeah.
That was with Lanigan and Dave Grohl, even.
Yeah, but Dave Grohl wasn't playing.
And Nick.
Anyways, I've seen Queens of Stone Age play like their first album, and like you could at the merch table he had like all like the Desert Sessions for sale. So like,
wow, nice.
You get the CDs, like, because again, it was like at that time it was hard to get stuff, you know, to find those things, and like you could get all the Desert Sessions there too, which were, you know, that was like when it was. That was underground of underground, and to be able to find like stuff from like Man's Ruin Records and stuff like that, you get like to different record shops. Like you'd always look for. Didn't matter what band it was. If you saw Man's Ruin, you were like, all right,
it's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Tira, when do you think we can expect possibly some new Freedom Hawk material coming out? Any idea?
You shooting for next year?
Yeah, we could. I don't know. Because we don't have anything like recorded yet. because you know it takes like at least 6 months after you've got everything in before it comes out. So I mean, it's possible. It just depends on if we get like a big creative drive to put some stuff together. But this time of year is tough because our practice area has no air conditioning, so we call it so you go in there and it's like, I always say, like, especially for the drummer, I was like, it's like training in the gym for like a boxing match or something. I was like, so if you can do it here, it's going to be no problem, like actually at the show, because you're trained in the heat,
I remember last time I talked to you guys, you said you had your own rehearsal spot. Now you still have that same space that you're.
Yeah. We've been there. We've been there for, I guess it's coming on 12 years.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, because we used to practice at my old house. And I had that detached garage that we had soundproofed and made a studio. And then when I moved to this house here, it doesn't have a detached garage, so we got that place, and so we've been there ever since. And
very cool.
It's nice to have it away from the house as well, because
a bit of a buffer zone.
Neighbors were like, "Whoa, what are you doing?"
Yeah. So do you guys got any other shows? Obviously, you're playing Planet Desert Rock. Obviously, I did see you playing, I think, one locally this month. So you guys is that what you're going to kind of do? Just do a show here or there and until you get the new record?
Yeah,
out?
we got an announcement coming up. There's a thing we're doing. I think it's in November. It's not completely set in stone yet. So, but as soon as it is, we'll announce that. But yeah, we've been trying to get some tours together, and just things that just haven't worked out. Because touring's tough, and it's strange times now too. As far as the whole world is a little wacky, so it's just tough to take the plunge of going out and touring, and we've been looking for like the right package. So if anyone's out there that wants to tour with us, it would be we're looking for something to do. It's just that we're looking for the right thing.
Don't open that door up. What are you doing? God. What?
Yeah, if you hit up John.
Yeah. If you don't hear back from me, then it's a no. Jesus. Yeah. I'm the good guy and the bad guy in this business, seemingly at times. That's for sure.
If Metallica wants to play with us, we'll think about it, I guess.
Yeah.
You guys go to that show? Did you guys?
No, they just played here up this way last about a week, I think, or so ago. I didn't feel like spending $1,000.
$1,000,
yeah, exactly.
What?
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was the first show when I was 14. I went to Injustice for All. That was the album they were touring.
Yeah,
that was the first show I ever went to.
Oh wow!
And my right ear is still a little deaf from that show.
Yeah.
Was that the one with the Cult playing also?
No, it was Queensryche was playing.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, they're getting ready to play here, like a local promoter. Like, we got a new venue here called the Dome, which is like brand new, and it's a really cool place. I went and saw Mastodon just played there with Coheed and Cambria like about a month ago, and it was the first time I went into the venue, and it's probably like 4,000 people.
Is that in Virginia Beach or Norfolk?
Yeah, Virginia Beach. So they just made a wave pool here too, which is kind of cool. So like this whole little compound where they have like a wave pool, and they've got shops, and they've got this venue called the Dome, and but the actual stage is like 50 yards wide, and it's deep, and the whole back, it's like 4 stories tall, but the whole back is like an LED, so you can
wow,
it's pretty cool. Like,
a lot of potential.
Nothing like the stuff they have in Vegas, but for here, it's pretty awesome.
No, that's very cool. I mean, we have the Sphere. and
Who's
I don't
right?
even.
Yeah, they're gonna play
go.
here.
The
So.
Spear is just the most insane thing ever. But
Yeah. Have you been in there?
Yeah, I saw the Dead.
Nice.
You saw the Dead? Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah. And John Mayer is awesome. I mean, I'm not a Dead music fan necessarily, but I'm a live music fan. And what they do with the visuals at this place, because we're surrounded, it was exquisite. And I smoked enough that it all, I even had like a microdose or something. And it really put you in a good place. And the sound was immense. So yeah, I'd like to go over there again sometime. That one I didn't actually buy the ticket, so I was lucky enough to a friend had 2 tickets, and it's pricey. And there's been some rumors Metallica at some point in time might do a residency or a month or whatever, and Tool as well, which I think Tool would be the perfect fit because of their visual aspect that they already implement. I hallucinated at the last Tool concert I went to, and I wasn't on anything but weed. And I had to stop myself. It was like some kind of the strangest feeling I've ever felt in my life. But it didn't scare me. It just, I had to wake and go, what the fuck's going on? I looked around and people were like, like everyone was like just encaptured by what was happening at the beginning of that. And yeah, it's amazing how music can be so good when integrated with the right visual aspects. And we hope to play around some of that at Planet Days of Rock as well. We'll be at the usual place the first 3 nights. And the final night at this place called the Swan Dive, which is a newer venue, they have a massive wall on the right-hand side. So you're looking at the venue, you're looking at the stage on the right-hand side, it's a big white wall, and you do anything you want on that wall. And they do all kinds of really badass visual stuff to kind of add to the aesthetics of it and the experience.
Well, the usual place had a backdrop that had stuff on. That was pretty
cool. Absolutely. And it looked even better this year than the year you played. They had other settings, and it wasn't as bright all the time and all this other stuff. And it was really cool. Like I told the owner, I'm like, dude, what happened? And so I'm going to probably have some kind of psychedelic aspect periodically.
Do you have a guy?
There's a local guy here in town that started doing a liquid lights of sorts. I mean, he's relatively new, but just
if you need a guy, I got a guy here that does it. He's toured around, and he's very good. So
yeah, it's probably expensive too.
Huh?
I got to sell more tickets before I can do that.
Are you going to hand out free microdoses for everyone, John? Or is that part of the ticket? So, no, that's right. Now,
hopefully, I get some marijuana. I can get like a cannabis, one of these places as a sponsor. It would make sense because we're legal as hell for a long time now, and have it where people can, use like via email, and they can go to the place and buy one joint, get one free or something, and maybe even have a present. So hoping I can put something like that together along the way.
Yeah,
because pot and rock and roll, it's gone together way longer than rap and pot, which it's been commandeered in Vegas. You go to a cannabis place, it's always rap, almost always in Vegas. I mean, I don't really go to cannabis places much anymore because I actually know people that have weed for cheaper. So I'm still old school. But, these places, it's like they forgot that really is the roots musically with weed is rock and roll.
Sure.
Woodstock, whatever else along the way. But it goes hand in hand.
Weed and music go together.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
weed,
why wouldn't
weed and food,
Weed and everything, I guess, right?
Yeah. I think we're 3 guys that enjoy an occasional deviled lettuce, I'm sure.
It makes everything better.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah.
Well, TR, we really want to thank you for taking time and let everyone get to know you a little better out there. And folks, this is one of the premier rock bands is Freedom Up, the TR Fronts. He's guitarist and singer. If you haven't checked them out before, start with any of the albums. Maybe Hold On is a great one, but honestly, all of them are good.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to find stuff that you're going to be like, holy crap, I slept on this, or I didn't know. And yeah, you'll thank me later.
You need to go to Bandcamp and check out that 4-song demo.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Is there a free download?
Probably.
NYP?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Is that the best spot for the listeners, everyone, to go to? Is your Bandcamp page? I know you guys have a website too, right?
Yeah. I think, as far as getting music, it's going to be, any of the streaming platforms, or you could go to, Ripple if you wanted to buy stuff directly.
How are you doing on inventory when it comes to vinyl and?
Well, that's the thing is that I think right now, I think all we have, us personally, like the inventory that we have for sale, is just the new album. We have some Sunlight. I think we have some of the self-titled, and that's all that we have personally. I think we need to talk to Todd to see if he's got any more of the Beast Remains album. And then we're trying to figure out, I think at this point, the Into Your Mind album, the contract that we signed with Small Stone, that we now own that album. Oh, cool. So we may put that one back out.
Nice.
You should.
And then
very good album.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah.
Top 3 of mine. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we just got to figure out the Holding On album, because that one's been out of print for, I don't know, 10 years at least.
Yeah, both the small, everything you've done is great, but both the Small Stone albums are key. That's for sure. And I think he even has some, I know he has CDs left, I think. At least
I think that,
in your mind.
Yeah. That was, Into Your Mind, I put a lot of work into that one. Like Matt, the other guitar player, had quit right before that. And so I had that album, like I worked on that by myself, like writing the lyrics and doing, because I had to do the leads on that one too, and it was just but I was super prepared for that one for sure.
What was your favorite song on that album?
Favorite song, I don't know. I Lost in Space I like that song a lot. I always like the weird songs on our albums. Like those are like my favorite ones. Like on that album, the line, that was like it was just kind of a weird jam that I had done like by myself before. And Mark and Matt always joked around about it because they called it Buck Rogers Goes Surfing. I've got the recording still, like the one that I did by myself, just like just recorded it like on a thing by myself, just did a bunch of different layers and stuff. But that song I liked a lot too.
Waterfall was a very unique one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Which one?
Waterfall.
Yeah, Waterfall. Yeah, that one was a good one too. I mean, a lot of those songs, that whole album, like I said, we could play every song on that album. You know what I mean? Like, there's some albums like that you do, and you play that, you record it, and you never play it ever again.
Mm-hmm.
That album, I could play the whole album. The new album, I could play the whole album. Some of the songs on Beast Remains, we never played live.
Did you have to write differently, being that you were the only guitarist? I mean, did it sort of alter what you would typically maybe do? I mean,
well,
you were done with 3-piece,
It put a little more pressure as far as just, like I would do leads here and there on the other albums, but, the main leads I would leave it to Matt. And the same thing, like I would leave them to Brendan, like on the parts to kind of write lyrics in here and there. But that one, there was no one to fall back on, so it was just I had to kind of just which was kind of cool, and it was kind of liberating because I was like, well, I can do it. So that album. I spent a lot of time just by myself, putting it all to, like, all the lyrics, and then practicing my leads before we got into the studio, because when you get into the studio, that costs money, and so if you're goofing off in there and not prepared, then it's just a waste of time. So
even the title track, the uniqueness of how you integrate the vocals at the beginning is
yeah.
You're like, what's happening?
That was like a Jim Morrison kind of thing. I was feeling like the door. Like that was my thought on that one, was just because it was, a lot of the stuff I do is high pitched, and I think I had gotten in my mind too, because some of the reviews from the Holding On album were like, the music's great, but it's singing the high pitch. It's like, I just can't take it, So I was trying to change it up as far as like just to maybe throw a little bit of variety in the overall vibe of the the album, so you don't hear the same thing all the time. Try to change those vocal patterns up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So anyways.
Awesome. Well, TR, man, appreciate it again. Once again, like I said, anywhere specific directly. I mean, you have the Freedom Hawk. Is it .com or .net? I think the website for people.
I think it's freedomhawkband.net. I believe.
.net. Okay. So freedomhawkband.net. I know there's some like merch on there. I know you get a lot of shirts and hats and so forth. So everyone should go ahead and check that out. And yeah man. So look forward to seeing you at Planet Desert Rock weekend.
You gonna be out there?
I will be there. Yes, I will be there. So I'll definitely see you there. Yeah, John's. Yep, exactly. John's doubting me. I'm not going to be there, but I'm going to.
I'm getting warmer to the idea you're actually going to do it. So I'm feeling good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, you going to be there? Yeah,
you be there, John?
Think so. Think so.
Physically,
hopefully so.
Awesome.
And folks, check them out. Check out Freedom Hawk, Spotify, Bandcamp. If you're into Apple, follow them on there as well. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook. All that stuff helps in a bigger picture with venues and stuff when they do want to go back out on the road. The more listens, the more followers, all that important stuff is for you anti-Spotify folks. It's the way of the world. That is still an important thing, regardless what you want to do. And same with the other streaming. So follow them, like them, show them the support, and help elevate easily one of the best rock and roll, heavy rock bands in the world currently.
Oh, yeah. Appreciate you guys.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
awesome,
guys. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, great talking to you, bud.
See you, bud.
Enjoyed the conversation for sure.
Absolutely.
Right on, brother. We'll talk soon.
It's about who's got the passion, man, Who's into music for real?
The apple didn't fall far from the tree.
It's Trev's daddy, he's big as shit, it's Bill Church.
My dad was always in bands. People know my dad from Montrose, Sammy Hagar, Van Morrison.
We used to be such a tight unit, and we would always do things together as a unit.
The infighting just got worse and worse and worse.
Didn't actually seem like we were living up to the hype, I guess you could say, in like a business sense.
But everybody in this band gets along really, really well. We're four brothers. We really are.
The rock and roll cliche. Yeah, we were a rock and roll cliche, Shit went down and stuff was done.
Like there's no bands here, man.
Wasteland. Like it's where local bands go to die.
They said they did not want me in the band.
Eric was the driver and the glue behind that band.
It was a struggle in the beginning with the business, but now it's basically paying off for all of my dreams.
For me, it's like me up against all the Van Halen kids.
He's quest-driven. His dad got cut. It's like Luke Skywalker.
We know our clock is done, our time is up,
but we just do it because we like to do it.
SoCal Heavy Jam, a bunch of friends throwing down on a great stage with an amazing sound system.
If I stopped and I got out of the band, I think I'd really still enjoy putting it on.
One of the premier scenes for heavy rock in America.
There is a group of knuckleheads that like this stuff, and I think we're having a freaking blast doing it.
In ways, it's more fun now, I think, because we don't do any of the stupid shit you did back then, you know?
Why do I do it? Because, you know, the easiest answer, because I love doing it.